Good afternoon and welcome to California Grants Business Opportunities. And this is presented by Blue Diamond Capital. And I'm Dr. Stephanie Ardrey. Well, excited to join you here and welcome to 2021. I hope that your business will realize all the abundance that it can and that you will experience health, wealth, and joy, love, and happiness. So that's what we're rooting for here for 2021 and beyond. Today, we're going to talk about some California grants which are available, and I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to take advantage of them. I'll give you a quick little snapshot. As I mentioned, Dr. Stephanie Ardrey. I'm the CEO of Blue Diamond Group, which includes Blue Diamond Advisory, Blue Diamond Capital, and Blue Diamond Properties. From Blue Diamond Advisory and Blue Diamond Capital, we focus on addressing needs for entrepreneurs, and that includes capital, customers, and capacity building within those organizations. So I'm affectionately referred to as an entrepreneur. Of course, I've had experience as a corporate executive and board executive, as well as an educator. I've spent a little time as adjunct faculty in an effort to educate my own and others' future workforces. So definitely spent some time contributing in the classroom, which certainly was eye-opening, I must admit. Uh, of course, feature media and continue to do media. Beware, look out for a new show coming out this year called Dr. Money Live. You can find out more information about Dr. Money Live at Dr. DRMONEY dot live, Live. And I've been in business and had a corporate career spanning, believe it or not, over 30 years. So I've had a lot of opportunity to understand what works and what doesn't work, and how to pivot when circumstances require such movements with your organizations. So our agenda for this afternoon is that I'm going to give you a quick overview of this one particular grant opportunity that's available in California. And the reason that I'm sharing this today is because the deadline is fast. The deadline is January 8th. So you definitely, if you're interested in pursuing this grant, want to quickly respond and get all your information submitted before January 8th. And I would warn you, do not wait until the 8th to submit, even though submittals will be accepted up until 11:59 on the 8th. There are always technical difficulties at the end. So I would say get your information scanned, organized, and submitted early. All right, so I'm going to go over the grant. I'll go over the requirements, the amounts, the eligibility, as well as the process and the particular documentation that'll be required. And then I'll give you our contact information at Blue Diamond Capital. And if someone wants to jump ahead and call us right away, feel free. Office number is 949-258-4341. Again, that's 949-258-4341. And we can help you. All right, so the grant opened literally just a couple days ago, was on December 30th, and the deadline is, as I mentioned, January 8th. So you need to have all of your documents uploaded, submitted before 11:59 on January 8th of 2021. So very few days left, but definitely it's doable. And so the grant amounts are based on the gross revenues of the company. So if you gross between 1,000 and 100,000, you could potentially qualify for a $5,000 grant. If your revenues are between 100,000 and $1,000,000, you could potentially qualify for a $15,000 grant. If your revenues are between $1,000,000 and million, you could qualify for a $25,000 grant. And of course, keep in mind that these grants are meant for businesses that have been impacted by the COVID global pandemic. And as a result of that impact, have either had uh, reduced revenues, reduced staffing requirements, potentially have had to close for a period of time, have had to adapt to different limitations, all of those things that have caused or have impacted your business and required modifications, may be requirements that satisfy your eligibility for this grant. And so, one of the major things that you want to be aware of is that you want to make sure that the business information, that your business is certified and in good standing in the state of California. Your business will have to provide some financial information. So they're looking for your most recent tax filing. So if you've filed 2019, your 2019 or your 2018 tax return will be required. And then also any of your filings regarding your entity with the Secretary of State. If you are located in a city that issues a business license, then verification that you have that business license and your business is in good standing, and also that your business was started before June 2019, before June 2019. Okay. And so those are important things. And then, of course, the last are your identification documents as who you are, including your driver's license or passport, your information. Who can apply? Typical small businesses that fall in the following categories. So, if you're a small business and you have fewer than 500 employees, then you meet the standard based on the Small Business Administration's requirement for small businesses. And so, you would be eligible to apply for this particular grant. Um, Companies, cooperatives, are ESOPs, tribal small businesses, again, all with fewer than 500 employees, sole proprietors and independent contractors, and many nonprofits would also qualify for this grant opportunity, again, based upon size and location and the other criteria. And so, what are they looking for? For this particular grant, the desire is to assist companies with a physical address within the state and operate. Again, meeting the Small Business Administration qualifications and been in business and operating since at least June 1st, 2019. Now, there have been some instances where some grants would allow a company or an owner that was had an interest in more than one company to be able to apply for those grants for multiple entities. This grant is not one of those such grants. So what the recommendation is that you apply for the grant for your highest grossing entity that would meet the requirements in the state of California. So you apply for the grant for only one entity. And if you have more than one entity, you want to select the highest grossing entity that would meet the other eligibility requirements and is operational and located within the state of California. So let that be your guideline in terms of which entity to select and go forward with pursuing this grant. And so here's a little bit about how the process is organized. There will be an opportunity for you to submit your application documents. Again, if you do it or if you need assistance in doing so, you can, again, call our office and we'll be happy to discuss that with you. And so the documents, the applications are submitted, all of the documentations are verified, and then there is a scorecard that is being facilitated by the lender that is designated for processing these grants for the state of California. And then once round one closes, all of the approved applicants will be validated and a grant agreement will be issued, and then the awards will be distributed. I believe that the target time to begin distributing the awards are around the last week of January. Notifications should happen around the second week of January. So keep those timelines in mind. Now, there are some situations where an applicant might be waitlisted and then given an opportunity to address the requirements and then continue in the process. There is a possibility that there might be a second round of financing in the event that this grant runs out before all the applicants are addressed. If it looks like the grant funds are getting running low, certainly it'll be again organized based on the businesses with the most significant need is the priority. So this is different than some of the other grants where they were first come, first serve. This is not a first come, first serve grant, but a grant that's based more upon the specific needs of the business and how those needs fall within the eligibility requirements. Okay. And so if you are a successful grant recipient, the funds do have some focus of how they should be dispersed or utilized within your organization. And so they're wanting you to focus again on any employee related expenses, payroll costs, if you had healthcare benefits, if there's sick leave, family leave, any of those manners that your business has faced, you will be able to use funds to address those. If you require assistance for working capital to address things like your rent, utilities, principal and interest payments, if it is that you have a mortgage because you have a commercial space, and any of the costs that you've incurred, either because you had to reopen your business or you had to close your business, you had to purchase protective equipment or uniforms or materials to protect both employees and potential customers to be able to conduct business with your organization. All of those are uses that are acceptable for these funds. Unfortunately, there are some ineligible uses as well, and those include things like if there were HR expenses for Medicaid, if you had to contribute, if you as an employer are contributing to Medicaid, you cannot use these funds for that purpose. You cannot use it for employee bonuses or severance pay. You cannot use it for taxes or legal settlements, and you cannot use it for personal expenses or other expenses unrelated to COVID 19 impacts, or expenses that may have been already covered by insurance, or to reimburse donors for donated items or services. So keep those things in mind. All right. So, what do you need to provide if you're going to pursue one of these grants? One, you want to give a summary that details the purpose of the grant as it relates to the specific needs of your organization. Obviously, there's an interest on if the grants will allow you to create any new jobs, if you will just retain jobs, there's an interest in that as well. So when you address the number of full-time employees you have, the number of part-time employees you have, the number of jobs either created or retained, those are important questions to address, as well as the annual revenues for your business. Because again, this grant is set up to be directed based on revenue levels, and that determines the amount of the potential grant that you would qualify for. So the documentation that you must submit, you need to provide your financial statements, including 2018 or 2019 tax filings if you filed them, and there will be the complete returns. So if you have a business and your legal entity and you are filing corporate taxes, for example, you'll need both your corporate and your personal tax filings. So if you have different types of taxes to state your business and personal financial standing, then you're going to be required to provide both sets of returns. And then if you have a legal entity, you will need to provide the articles of incorporation or the certificate of organization. If your business has a fictitious statement filing, you will need to provide that information as well as a copy of your city issued business license if that city issues license. Some cities don't, but if you are in a city that does, then it is expected that you would have the uh, business license available as well. And then to identify yourself, you will need to provide a driver's license or passport. So those are the documents required. And then the grants again will be determined based upon where the business is located in the areas that seem to be most devastated by the effects of COVID, as well as certain industries that seem to be disproportionately impacted, like retail, food, hospitality. Health and wellness, personal care, including beauty, nail salons, spas, barbershops. All of those businesses are certainly encouraged to consider and apply for this particular grant. And then the next group would be underserved small businesses, meaning women-owned, minority, veteran businesses. These businesses that are low to moderate income businesses, businesses also located in rural communities. Rural typically are communities that are located outside of urban areas and typically have 50,000 or fewer people in those communities. So again, if you reside in one of those areas, if you're in a typical low to moderate income community, or if you're part of a minority group that is considered underserved small businesses, then you too have some uh, determinations that you meet that make you uniquely qualified potentially for these grants. The grants, you will have to pay taxes on the grant. So keep that in mind. Whatever grant amounts you received, your tax professionals will need to recognize it and file that, and it'll be considered income that your business received during the tax year or the tax quarter of 2021 at the time that you receive those particular funds. All right. Are there any last minute questions? Let me check the chat and see what we have here. Timing, yes. I suggest that you work on really contact our office Monday morning. Again, that number, let me go ahead and show it. I'll show it on the screen here. That number is 949 That's Blue Diamond Capital at 949-258-4341. Contact our office on Monday and we'll be able to discuss how we can assist you with getting your grant submitted. Yeah, each business will have a unique scenario. So yes, we will be able to look at your individual situation and address your possibility in terms of meeting the eligibility requirements. Okay, well, wonderful. Well, thank you all for participating today. I want to wish you well and contact us if you have any questions. Again, at 949-258-4341. Signing off.